Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Eddie Zitka and I am the Artistic Director of K&E Theater Group, and we are so excited to have you here with us for the K&E Theater Group Local Spotlight Series. Just a couple things. If you are watching on Facebook, in the comment section below, there will be a PayPal link for any sort of donation that you would like to give to us at K&E Theater Group if you are inclined. If you would like to do it later, or you're watching on IGTV, or you are watching on our YouTube channel, you can always go to our website, ketg.org. There is a drop-down box. Click on Support KETG, and you'll find a donation button there. I'm really excited about today's guest. A lot of you may know her for her comedy, but she also does a lot of theater. So I would like to welcome Jess Miller. Hi, Jess. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am peachy.
Oh, I am excited that you're peachy.
I'm super excited about this interview. I'm excited for people to hear about all the different stuff that you've done and some stuff that you're going to be doing soon.
Yes.
So first, we're going to start off with a question that I have asked everybody going into this.
Okay.
Can you tell us about your theatrical timeline? So, like, where did you begin, where you are now, and all the fun stuff in the middle?
I'm going to give you the shortest version possible, Eddie. Because I'm very long-winded, as you know. And most people know this about me, that I'm a very long-winded person, because mostly I'm female. Yeah, even though I get typecast as a man, I'm mostly female. I started with Rent at Exit 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was typecast as a man. So this is a little embarrassing. I didn't know what the movie Rent was about.
Okay.
Or the musical. I had no idea. I was auditioning so I could get over my nerves of auditioning for America's Got Talent.
Gotcha.
Without any like feeling like I would get cast in this musical, right? So I got cast, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so talented!" And like, I really did think this. And then I watched the movie version of on tape,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Wow, oh, they needed gay people. I might not be so talented. I might just be really gay." So that's how I started. Megan Lynn Allen was my director. I don't know if you know her.
We actually interviewed her. She was our first interview.
Okay, I love her to death.
She's
she would give me things like, and I was very uncomfortable at the time because I was new. I wasn't, like I didn't know where I was. Like I didn't know how to do this stuff. So she was like, when you come on stage, just grab yourself, like grab your crotch as a man. Like, yeah, Megan Lynn Allen's crazy, right? She's like, grab yourself. But as the show went on, I morphed into a woman.
Okay.
And then she would tell me to grab myself.
Oh my God.
And I was like, aren't people confused enough as it is? Right? So yeah.
Did you do producers as well?
What?
Did you do producers as well?
I was in producers, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, me and Chris Kleinmo shared the role of Shirley.
That's Shirley Markowitz is one of my favorites. I love Shirley.
Yep. Again, typecast.
Typecast.
Yeah.
And then Little Shop.
Little Shop, and You Can't Take It With You. I played Mr. DePenna.
Perfect.
I played a man and a woman in Little Shop. Because, community theater doesn't have a large pool of men to draw from, so why not use the lesbian? It looks like one. Yeah, I know.
You also direct too, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you did some children's theater, right?
Yeah, Wizard of Oz and Shrek, and then I directed a one-act play in Westfield. And I have to say I enjoy children more than people, humans. Sorry.
I do love children as well.
I love children's theater because I think they're phenomenal people.
Yeah, you have talked to me multiple times about children's theater and how much you loved to bring theater to their lives.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, so wonderful. Now, moving forward with your theatrical timeline, you broke into comedy.
I did.
And you started something called OMG Comedy.
Yeah, I also broke into comedy to get over stage fright.
I mean, I've seen you, so I can say that you have.
Gotten over it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty comfortable saying I have gotten over it too. Yeah, I have no stage fright anymore at all.
So how did OMG Comedy like start, and what was your inspiration for it?
I actually didn't get cast in a musical.
Okay.
That was for the 25th annual County Putnam Spelling Bee. I wanted to be Logan Schwarzenegger.
It's a great character.
And I did not get cast, and I was very, very sad. And so I was like, well, screw this. I'll make up my own rules. And so I took a class, and then I started, and it worked. I was actually taking improv, too, at the time.
Okay.
So I was doing stand-up in New York City and improv in Boston.
Oh, my goodness. Where did you end up in New York City?
At Caroline's.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's my claim. I've performed on Broadway.
So your inspiration to start it was just because like an audition didn't go well, and you were like, you know what? I'm going to do this for me now.
I had been told a long time ago, I was in a karaoke contest.
Which, by the way, everyone, Jess has a great voice.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
She has a great voice.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to use it more.
Yes, you do.
I do. I mean, I was in a, okay, so I've only won one thing in my life, like in competition, for competitions.
Uh-huh.
I won singing the Celine Dion song, the theme song from Titanic.
My Heart Will Go On.
My Heart Will Go On, against the 9-year-old. I've never been so proud of my entire life to have won, because I was like, I'm not going to win against my own kind. I was like, I have to beat a 9-year-old? And if I hadn't won that, I would have been crushed.
But you won.
I did win. But I had taken so I was really into singing. And I didn't know anybody around here that sang, so all I could do was like karaoke. Like, I didn't know any musicians, and like I was like, I gotta sing. My mom had passed away, and she was a singer and a performer. And so, like, to feel closer to her, I was like, I'm just gonna go sing karaoke every night. And so I would drag my friend with me every single we went to Connecticut. We went all over, like, I was gung-ho. I was in a karaoke contest. I didn't win because it wasn't against a 9-year-old. Like, if the 9-year-old had been there, I may have won, right?
You'd have done
I had this lady, like, I was like singing Crazy, and that's one of my favorite songs by Patsy Cline. And she's like, I was like, I don't understand how you think I should not have passed to go into like some sort of semifinal thing, right? Like, I would get really offended if I didn't go through. And she would tell me these things like, you just have to like feel the song and move your arms. I'm like, it's a karaoke contest. Like, oh my God, like, what do you need from me? This is amazing, right? So I didn't pass, and so I had to go to other places that were doing karaoke. I ended up going to Connecticut or something like that. And in Plainville, Connecticut, they had this thing called Star Karaoke. Okay. Which was a great place. And when I went there, they were doing this thing called a showcase, which I had never heard of, right? And I was like, I can win this. I can win this, right? I didn't win it at all. I don't even think I came in like 5th. I have a decent voice. It's not a great voice, you know. I can carry a note, but I have no vibrato. You know, like, I'm a great character singer. Like, Logan would have been great for me.
Logan and Shirley Markowitz.
Yeah. I mean, you know, if you want to typecast me. But I had a guy in that showcase. So what they did was you had to pay like $500. I mean, it's such a scheme. It's such a,
right.
You know, like it's just like you learn this as you go along. Like, oh, you know, like they're gonna take you to New York and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, here's my money, you know. And one of the things that they did was like you could do a stand-up routine, and I was like, well, I'm gonna do a stand-up routine. So I created this character that had really bad posture and was promoting good posture. And so I walked out on stage and I had these little, like, I slicked my hair down and I made these little, I don't know, devil things that were going down like this. And I walked out on stage with the worst posture ever. And I'm like, hi, I am here trying to get a job for the American Posture People. And they're here and they just want me to see if I can make 200 people sit straight up in their chairs. So if you guys wouldn't mind. And they just stood there and stared at me. Or they sat there and they were just like blink, 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 blink. Like they're like, what is this? And then I was like, okay. So the other day I went to the park and they all laughed. And I was like, I don't know why you laughed. Because that wasn't the joke. Right? I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue. But this guy, who is an agent or whatever, came up to me afterwards and he said, I never do this, but you're really funny. You have something. You definitely have a stage presence. And you should probably take a comedy class so you know what you're doing. And Caroline has these classes. So 10 years later, it took me 10 years to do this. Bummer. This is like 18, 19 years ago, right? So 10 years after that, I was doing this stuff and I was like, I actually started taking the class while I was in Rent. And I was so terrible that first day because we had to go to the class and she was like, do 2 minutes of material. I mean, you can prepare or not prepare. And I'm like, I don't need to prepare. Who needs to prepare? Who needs to prepare? Right? And I got up there and I was like, hi, I'm Jess. I'm from Springfield, Massachusetts. That's all I did. I just stood there for 2 minutes. And I'm like, this sucks. This is stupid. I don't want to be a comedian. And so I quit.
Oh, no.
And then when I auditioned, I was like, I maybe want to try that again. Because it's a very solo activity. Like, no one can tell you that you can't do comedy. Like, you could be really bad and the audience will tell you that you shouldn't do comedy if you're paying attention to the audience, which most people should if you're a comedian. But in terms of like theater, you have to be cast, right? And so if I'm not getting booked or I'm not getting cast, then I need to make my own way, like I need to do my own thing. So
I love that. I think that, you have taken OMG comedy and like built quite the comedic empire around here. And in New York, and like you're everywhere.
People know, yeah. I think people know who I am a little bit.
They do.
I mean, the OMG was like probably one of my favorite things. It started off with I'll do a monthly show, and I had no idea how it would go, and it turned into like it started at like around 150 people, and then it went to 417, whereas. On a Wednesday night.
Wow.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get there, but it was like, this is amazing. And you create a community, 80% of people that came to the shows were repeat because they loved the show. So it was their monthly date night.
That's awesome.
And then just to continue it, like we did the club because we were collecting toys for foster kids and we just wanted to make it big.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
Now, we're in a pandemic.
Yeah.
Yes,
we are, aren't we? Which is why we're not doing this in person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What have you been doing to stay creative during this pandemic?
A lot of sleeping. I caught up on a lot of sleep. I've eaten at least 100 pounds of potatoes. I really have. It's not a joke. It's not gonna be good when the pandemic is over and I have to come out because people are gonna be like, Jess, what did you do? And I was like, I didn't think I could get fatter. And they're like, well, you did. What did you do? And I'm like, well, potatoes.
Potatoes.
That's my answer, potatoes.
I love potatoes.
But one of the things that I did, because it was really depressing, like I went from having shows and fundraisers scheduled to not having anything, right? And I was just like, what do you do? So I started a half-naked conversations with comedians because I didn't want to get dressed. As it's been 3 months, I've been out of my, I've gone for a drive in the car twice in 3 months. And I have literally not left my property except for those 2 times.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I'm very high risk and I'm very germophobic.
That's understood. Man.
Yeah.
This is
so that was a big deal because I love my comedy friends, you know, like, and that really kept me going.
And what is the half-naked conversations with comedians?
It's just us talking. It's like you and me talking, only we get to swear.
Okay. And why is it half naked?
Because I don't wear pants. Or a bra, really. Let's be honest.
Who is?
I lost my bra. I mean, if we're going to be honest, I actually lost it. And I put it on Facebook that I lost my bra. And they're like, you only have one? And I'm like, am I supposed to have more? Like, I'm just a really bad woman. I don't know. But you know what happened from not wearing a bra?
What?
I can now play hacky sack. Without the hacky sack. It's amazing.
Oh God, I'm sweating.
It's amazing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you who don't know, Jess is huge into fundraising.
But don't use the word huge though. Potatoes. Use something like not tremendous.
She loves to help others.
I do.
And one of those things is for her birthday. Can you tell us about your birthday fundraiser?
Yes, I'm going to be turning 30.
Yes.
Like a lot, many times. 30.
30.
And so what I did was I really wanted to have, because it's a big milestone birthday for me, I really wanted to have a big birthday party. But, you know, and since I'm a germaphobe, this is so much fun. I just, you know, I'm not going to have a birthday party. So instead of being sad about it, like, okay, so one of the things I was thinking of is because every year, like my first fundraiser I did was for foster kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think out of all the kids in the world, foster kids are probably the most forgotten. And I think, you know, just from my own personal experience of like leaving my mom and living with my dad and never seeing my mom again, I was never a foster kid, but that experience kind of changes you. And so I feel that like I've worked in residential counseling and I've seen kids be in group homes and their family's not always around. So that's something that's really important to me. And even this year, my goal was to actually start the fundraiser in July, like a Christmas in July kickoff. But since that's not happening and I don't have a club, I figured, what about art supplies? Because these kids, I don't know what they're supposed to do this summer. And so instead of doing a 50th birthday party, I'm just going to put my efforts into making art supplies for kids.
I think
and so far we have like 300 kids that we have to get art supplies to.
I think that's so incredible. Now, are you taking donations or anything like that? You are.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just tell everybody who's watching how they could help out?
They can donate, which we've raised, I want to say $882 so far.
That's awesome.
And we've gotten 300 drawstring backpacks donated, nice. Which is really cool. Yeah. And then we just have to get up to about $4,500 because we have 300 kids. So we're planning about $15 per kit.
Okay.
So our goal is to raise, at this point, $4,500. There are more kids, so if we raise more, we get to go to more kids.
That's incredible.
And they can donate if they want. They can just send it to me and they can put foster kids or art kit. And Venmo, I do Venmo or Cash App, which is Jess Comedy, JESSCOMEDY.
Perfect. You can also contact Jess on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect, because I think this is a great platform to help out with that fundraiser.
Thank you.
Because it's such a great cause, and you've done so much for so many people as far as fundraising goes. So it's just nice to be able to give you this little platform with very few people who are probably watching, because
I have the same problem.
exactly. But you never know. You never
You
know.
never know. You never know.
And that's just, I love that, and I love that you're giving your birthday over to that. That's really admirable and wonderful.
It's a nice way to celebrate a birthday, you know? Because if
Yeah,
we're not here to do something good for our community, why are we here?
I agree.
Like, for real.
And that's, I love that. I love that about you, because a lot of Jess's OMG comedy shows became fundraisers as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's for everything. And you've really helped a lot of people, and I think that's just so admirable. And I loved hearing how your OMG comedy and how you in general got into comedy. I think that's wonderful. You're just a very bright light in our area.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask you one more question, and that's the question that I ask everybody at the end of every interview.
Okay.
And it's my favorite question. What draws you to live theater, live performance?
People. Mostly people. People helping people. People.
People who need people.
People. Yeah. No, for real. With the comedy, I absolutely love making people laugh. And I think the reason I stuck with comedy as much as I have is because I remember the second fundraiser I ever did. It was for a veterans organization, and I'm a veteran. And specifically, it was for Gold Star and Blue Star families. So Gold Star family is when your son or daughter is killed in action, and a Blue Star family is more like someone who might commit suicide when they're home. And so I was at the show, and I knew one of the people coming in, her son had committed suicide. My mom committed suicide. And so I went to her and I said, just so that she knew, I'm like, you're not alone. You know, like, I know that you're not alone. And she was very pale, and she didn't want to be there. She just absolutely hated being there. She came to support her group, but you could just see it, that she was like, no. And I said, I hope you enjoy the show. You know, like, no pressure, just I hope you enjoy the show. And then I left and I went and did my job. And I came back after the show, and she had color in her face. And it was amazing. You know, like, that's what laughter does. Like, it takes all the stuff that we're experiencing today, all the violence, all the, you know, the sadness and the pain and the hurt. And when you're laughing, you cannot feel those things, right? And it takes people from every single culture, and it brings them together. And so that's really, really important to me. And laughter does that. I mean, a lot of people would be afraid that I'm gay. Like, I've gone down south and they see me and they're like, oh, you're gay. But I make them laugh and they're like, oh, who cares if you're gay? And so it's very disarming, you know, like, they may leave and like 3 or 4 hours later go, well, that person was gay and I laughed and I had a good time. And maybe that changes someone's mindset, you know? So part of it's that, part of it's getting back to the community, part of it's, when I'm in the theater, it is working with kids. Like, that is probably my biggest passion, because I think kids are amazing human beings, and I don't think adults give them as much credit as they should get, you know?
Yeah.
In terms of, like, just being able to do stuff that adults can do, they can do 10 times better. It's amazing. It really is amazing. And, you know, because they want to do good, where adults are like, do I have to be here? I'm so tired. And kids are like, I'm so excited, you know? So that's very fun for me. And it's a lot of fun to be able to say to a kid, it's okay to make mistakes. And that's a big thing that I really believe. Like, kids need to learn that it's okay. Like, when you're acting, you don't act small, right?
Right.
But when you're around kids, they're so inhibited. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them, you know, you have to draw that out of them, and you have to make them feel comfortable. And so, like, creating a really good team atmosphere or cast atmosphere, or whatever you want to call it, is super important, so that each of them are helping each other. And, you know, and they get to come out and be who they are. So, like, whoever that is, and sometimes you learn that in the choices that you make. You know, and I always said, don't be afraid. I will never ever get mad if you think that you cannot make a wrong choice in art, right?
That's true. That's very true.
I mean, and you can, as an adult.
As an adult.
But in theater, especially, it's really hard to make a bad choice, because even if you're whether you're the actor or the director, you can always bring it back. You can always rewind it a little bit, or soften it a little bit, or make a different choice. But that the learning process of in being able to have the ability to make those mistakes it's enormous. I want to say potatoes. It's just a really I don't know what the word is. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of like it's a valuable thing to learn in life.
It is.
If you ever come from a place where you weren't allowed to make choices, you want children to make choices.
I agree. You can only learn.
You can only, well, yeah, I mean, we're learning now.
We're learning every day.
Every day we learn.
And that's amazing.
Right. So to get kids on that, like, and to allow them to be who they are, that's priceless.
Jess, you're so wonderful.
Oh, thanks, Eddie.
I love you. Thank you so much for doing this with us. What we will do is we will put the Venmo information for Jess's fundraiser in the comment section below. And we're also going to we posted it on the screen earlier. Thank you so much for joining us, Jess.
I do want to say one last thing.
Yeah.
Just one last thing. You know the movie Beaches? Have you seen it?
Yes.
With Bette Midler? I'm really nervous that I'm going to look back on this as I'm watching it and go, oh. Do you know what scene I'm talking about?
Yes.
You know exactly which scene? I was like,
It's okay. This is all for fun and joy.
Well, if you don't like me, my name's Bette Midler. Most people would.
Well,
in comedy, I say, if you don't like me, my name is Rosie O'Donnell. But I really like Rosie, so I shouldn't say that.
I do too. Oh,
I love her. I think she's great.
Well, Jess, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome, Eddie.
You're awesome. Bye.
Bye.
She's just so cool. I love her. Oh, well, thank you guys for watching one more episode of the Local Spotlight series. In the comments below, we do have Jess's Venmo information for you if you'd like to donate for her birthday. Also, there is the PayPal link below for K&E Theater Group donations as well. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a great night.